So in today's video, we're going to go over Polkadot and my exit plan. What I'm going to be doing, when I'm going to be buying, when I'm looking to sell, and what I'm doing in between regarding staking. When will I be looking to unstake? How am I going to do it? Explaining you how to do it with compounding, how to change your wallet, all that kind of stuff. Very, very simple stuff. Now, I know there's going to be people in the comments going, oh, Polkadot's dead, it's $4, it's this, that, whatever, right? However, please, before you comment, do some research. Look into what's on the screen, which is Polkadot 2.0, why it's going to change and how elements of the previous 1.0 has not worked and why they're going to change it, make it more flexible, and why this can really benefit the ecosystem entirely for when they get more parachains, when they get more and more projects in line with it, and most importantly, speed, right? Fluidity, and most importantly as well, and after I said that, revenue for the ecosystem, right? So let's talk about one thing that's just happened this morning. Moonbeam, one of their main parachains, has just been listed on Upbit. It's doing very well. But we're here to talk about Polkadot. But just remember this, right? Polkadot is a layer 0. It will have a lot of layer 1s on their blockchain. Layer 1s can have other dApps on their blockchains. Can you see what the difference is between Ethereum and Polkadot? Very, very interesting. I could easily do an overlay of the history of time with Ethereum versus Polkadot and show you where potentially they are in their roadmap. It's very, very interesting to point that out. And maybe on Twitter, feel free to follow me. I may do an overlay later on. So let's talk about Polkadot. Now, what I want to do, ignore all this. We want to look at the longer timeframes, right? We want to see what is happening. Now, I've already done this. There's written down in front of me, so I know roughly what I'm looking at, right? Now, we've only had one cycle. Now, I like to look at coins for two things. Have they done a cycle before? Usually helps. Or did they get released at a really inconvenient time? So going back to Moonbeam, it came out at a very crappy time. It came out in January 2022 as a live price asset. It has been around for a lot longer, but as an actual token, no. So that was a problem. Polkadot is the same. It's been around for a while. It got locked up. It got released in 2020 pretty much. Didn't really do much other than that one big pump that we had in that time frame where we had two massive pumps in the market and the parachains went live in November, October time. Then it fizzled out. The whole market did, not just the asset, the whole market did. So remember the caveat there, right? So I want to mention staking first. Me, I'm a staker. I bought Polkadot around $3 to $4 to $5 in its early days of it getting released. I've always had an eye on it because I've been around in crypto for a while. I didn't get in the ICO, which is annoying. I was looking at it, but it got sold out pretty damn quickly. However, thus been said, we've got a problem. It got released, the market pumped, and it wasn't really ready, let's be honest here. But one thing that was ready was staking rewards. As I say, I am a staker, and I automatically compound my rewards. They get added to my wallet every single day. Now, if you go into Polkadot.js, you can change your controller wallet to allow it to automatically compound. Now, the one thing I want to do, when it gets to $15, I will be changing my wallet. So from $15 onwards with Polkadot, I will be changing my staking kind of behavior to allow an available balance to get added to my portfolio. What does that mean? Well, it's pretty simple. The auto compound is going to stop and whatever I'm making will go into an available balance where I can sell it. That will be at $15. Why $15? Because it is a key area where I will be looking to, as you can imagine, change the behavior of my wallet. It doesn't mean unstake. It allows me to stake for longer, but I will still make a bag if I need to sell, just in case. However, if it gets to $15, I do think it will go much higher than that, and then I will be looking to unstake. More than likely, we'll be looking between $25 and $20 sort of dollars to start unstaking my entire bag. In my opinion, I think this isn't a bad area to kind of be, because you want to be staking when it's at the lowest. You want to be able to buy as many units as you possibly can and just keep adding to the bag, adding to the bag. And when you add to the bag with staking rewards, it's zero base cost. Yes, there's still taxation there, but you were getting some free units for free at the lows. If at some point in the future they're worth a lot more, you make more money. Kind of makes more sense, right? Not financial advice, but it's kind of obvious in terms of, well, if I'm holding, stake it. Question, I know you're going to be asking it, do it on the native chain. Don't do it on an exchange, do it on the native chain. It's very, very simple, right? If you're struggling, jump in my Patreon, ask some questions, someone will help you. There's an article on Learning Crypto, free one, where you can just read through it and it'll tell you how to do it during the pool. There's nearly 100,000 dot in there. Ridiculous, I know. So yeah, there's a lot of things there. So I will be looking at this point here to literally, where's my little text button? Unstake. Simple as that. I will be looking to unstake all of it. 100%. Simple as that. So that kind of gives you an idea. Between $15, I'll probably move it to allow an available balance. And then when we get to this point up here, I will probably press the unstake button. Let's be fair. Oh, actually, maybe it might just be around $12, say, just to give a bit more wiggle room, just as a point, right? Because it doesn't really matter. You're still staking at that point. So that's just that part of it, right? So when we're moving forward in terms of selling levels, right? This is where it gets a little bit harder. So I will not be able to sell anything realistically until beyond roughly $12 to $15. Hope that makes sense. I will not be able to sell most of my bag or all of my bag until post 25 after the 28 days has been kind of done, over, and then we'll go from there. So I am only interested in anything above this level here where I am looking to sell what I've made. Now, my dollar cost averaging has been pretty awesome with DOT. I'm very happy with my levels. I'm pretty much still in profit over the course of time, which people will probably think, how? Well, if you've been staking for as long as me, you get a lot of zero-based costs, as well as buying at roughly $3 at the start. It kind of helps, right? But I'm not massively up, as you can imagine. However, if I'm looking for a good reward, it has to be above this point for me. For me, because I've been in this for so long, I bought low, I sold high, I rebought back low. All of the money that's in this is pretty much profit, and I've got nothing to lose realistically. Obviously, my stake, what's in there, you get the idea. So when we're looking at the obvious levels, for me, this is the most obvious one. $30 is probably going to be the most obvious level that you're going to look at in terms of rejections and solid areas on these higher time frames. When we look at where that level is, $30 around here, very, very clear level, in my opinion, right? So when we look at $30, we've got to think, well, that's kind of like a beautiful area where we could think, well, that's a real big one. Now, obviously, everyone's different. For me, that's kind of where I want to get a decent reward. As you can imagine, from $12, $15, whatever, I will be getting available balance. So I can sell some of it, but not massive amounts versus my 100% stake bag, right? So when we've got to look at that, we've got to look at, well, where the priorities are. If the market starts to go into real nice turbo mode, you're probably going to be looking around $25, $20 where you probably start getting a little bit excited. This is why I want to try and break up my staking rewards so I'm not just pulling the trigger. Previous cycle, I sold way too early. It's not good. Not good. Now, the next obvious level for me, when we look at the chart, is very, very clear. It's a little bit higher. It's roughly around $35 to $36. When if you go down to the 3-day time frame, you can see again another rejection here and multiple levels in and around this region. And again, another rejection around the EMA, spiked up and then went right the way down. So for me, I'll probably say roughly around $36 is probably not a bad place to go, well, you know what? I could probably sell a little bit more there. Kind of makes sense because you want to be selling little bits as you go. Again, moving forward, very, very simple one. On the top of this point here, 43. Really? Yes. Come on. Remember as well, if you're selling for dollars, when you just keep pressing the 20% button or the 10% button, you're going to be getting less and less tokens, but more and more dollars for your worth, right? So it kind of makes more sense. And the final one, in terms of the current price action, as easy as it is, it's roughly around $50. Let's be honest here. You don't want to be going too crazy in terms of just targeting the all-time high because there's a chance here where it could obviously go much higher. Now, the reason why I talk about that, increments are huge. Down here, it's still like, in my opinion, anything below $7 is still dollar cost average zone. Above here, yes, you can obviously change the way your staking is done so you can get your rewards and you can sell little bits there. But realistically, as I say, you don't want to be unstaking too early. just in case, because there's a massive amount of time there that you're going to be wasting in terms of not getting rewards. Moving forward into where these can lie in terms of the future, do a Fibonacci. You'll know this from my previous videos. Now, again, these are lining up very, very nicely as obvious levels on a Fibonacci. Kind of really, really important to note that. And again, look at this 382 around where this point is. This is where, as I highlighted before, where I would be potentially looking to unstake my bags around this sort of region, right? So it's hugely important we get to that point where we could think, oh, we can maybe pull the trigger and start getting some units out here. Chances are, if we do get to the point of unstake around $23, probably will be selling a tiny, tiny small amount, but the main ones will be much higher than that, in my opinion. Now, when we talk about the future here, there's obviously a big level here at $69. That to me looks like a very clear and obvious area where you could probably pinpoint. For me, I'd rather go just below that, around, the $65 range, if we ever get to that point. That would mean more and more sell orders, and it will be meaning probably more and more hype. If we get to a point of beyond all-time high, the hype may well send it higher. But what I will say to everyone, and the big learning point here, don't sell all of your bag. This is why I'm trying to do these little exit plans to try and show you, well, if you do it in increments, it kind of just makes more sense in terms of how to do it. Because the reality is here, I, in the previous cycle, have sold too early. It happens. Yes, you look at your portfolio thinking, whoa, that's a lot of money. And you start going, I want to sell that. The problem is, if you sell too early, it can be a problem, especially in crypto. Goes lower than you think and higher than you ever thought. That's kind of crypto in a nutshell, right? So when we look at those areas, it's very, very interesting that you look at certain regions and you just pinpoint obvious areas. Because the one thing I will say about this series is having an obvious plan is good, because if you stick to it, it makes it easier. Again, we can go much higher. We can look at potentially 87 or even $80 here, where you're thinking, well, if I sell a little bit, that's cool. You've got to sometimes make your bed with crypto and just get your money out and make money and realize the fact that you've made money, right? Too many people, and you may well be, a factor of this as well in the past, just watch it just go up and up and up, and you're like, cool. But if it goes a little bit higher, I'll make more money. Well, yeah, but you may well lose all of it. And then all of a sudden, what happens is it goes up like this, and then bosh, just before you get to it, say, imagine you're going to sell a lot of $44 and it gets like 42, and it just goes like that, and you're thinking, oh, cock. We've seen plenty of articles about the Dogecoin millionaire and all those sort of people. Be careful, right? So, may not be glamorous, it may not be cool, but yes, I will be selling one of my favorite assets. But what will I do in the future? Well, I don't know. Providing I still want to be in this space, because I am getting quite sick of it, I'll be honest with you, I will be looking to rebuy back if Gavin Wood, the team, Polkadot as an ecosystem, whatever, are still developing and delivering what they want to do. They so far are now. But 2-3 years time, when the prices potentially materialize into a bull cycle, I want to know what they're going to do in the new bear cycle. Am I going to rebuy back a lot of my units for a lot less cost and have a massive bag and an even bigger staking bag until those staking rewards run out in 2020 or 2030 or whatever it is, 2030, I can't remember. That sort of time period, but we've got to be somewhat careful of it. Fundamentals of a good solid asset, when it got released, team, all that kind of stuff, right? Ticks the boxes. What it needs to tick now is price appreciation. Don't get caught up on price. Sometimes the best assets look like this. And I know, as I say, it's not very glamorous, but there's nice returns here. So yeah, if you like this video, let me know. If you want me to do another asset, let me know as well. This is my own personal asset. I'm happy to do others in terms of where I would methodically look to exit. Certainly if you've got a decent buy range, certainly stuff like Solana or even XRP, etc. They're very popular, and some people do need a little bit of guidance. But for me, as I say, between 12 and 15, I'll be looking to change my staking behavior. I will then look to unstake between $20 and $25. And then from there on, be methodical percentage levels. Enjoy.